Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Hello and welcome to What's on Tap podcast, where I am Martin.
And I am Stefan. And today we have a Martin episode because it's all red.
Oh, because I'm red?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It harkens back to your Irish heritage back in the days of your forefathers before they immigrated into Sweden.
I actually did enough of enough genealogy, enough family research to know that I am actually not Irish.
Oh, what are you?
I do have a Prussian roots.
Is there a strong red hair lineage in the Prussian what do you call it?
No.
Genetic heritage?
Not at all. Turns out my mailman is super red.
Oh,
it's really
interesting.
Weird. Really weird.
Wow, that's a weird coincidence.
No.
Also Prussian for some reason. I don't know where that come from.
Super weird.
Have you done one of those genetic tests to find out what your heritage is?
No, a DNA test? I actually haven't. No. It's just been like researching these Swedish church books.
Are you worried you're going to be related to some sort of serial killer that has been living off the coast in some sort of shack in the woods? And
I mean, now we're getting completely off topic. But for someone who does genealogy to research your family tree, you actually really want murderers and criminals.
I know, because they're well documented. You can really trace their
exactly. They're well documented, but also you get a description of what they looked like, what they did. Otherwise, in my family tree, it's just Nils Nilsson, farmer, son to Nils Nilsson, farmer, son to Nils Eriksson, farmer, son to Erik Nilsson, farmer. It's like, oh wow, there's absolutely nothing there.
So I was able to on my dad's side, they immigrated to the U.S. in the turn of the 1900s, and I found a family tree that dates back to before they came over, and it was like hardcore, like Old Testament names to like
Ezekiel.
Oh yeah. There was an Ezekiel and there was a Nebuchadnezzar, and it was just like, whoa, these people were probably Mennonites or something like that, judging from the region, and then the region they settled in Arkansas. I was like, wow, that's disturbing.
That's cool.
Yeah. But
the reason we're talking about red is because Stefan has prepared two red ales for us to try side by side.
Yes, both of these came out at Systembolaget within a week of each other, and I was just like, I mean, how often do we have red ales on the podcast? It's not a particularly popular beer style.
I wonder why.
And I kind of like red ales. Back in the day, back in the early 90s when I could first start drinking, or first was able to drink beers, Killian's Irish Red was like the rage. That was the alternative to your Bud Light and Coors Lights and stuff. Yep. So that was the craft beer of the time. So kind of developed an affection for red ales, even though they have not, we'll just say, matured as a style in any way outside of their original base concept, basically.
Here in Sweden, in the early 2000s, you could get Murphy's Irish Red, which would be a big leap from Tuborg and Carlsberg pale export lagers. So the first one, the one you're holding,
yes.
I am a big fan of Nynäshamns Steam Brewery. Mm-hmm. And what you're holding is Roxen India Red Ale.
Yes, it's a 7% ABV strong ale. It's I can't remember. God, again, I don't get the. It's so hard to read. It's gold on red.
Stronger ale with tropical aroma, balanced sweetness, and middle bitterness. You should drink it at 11 to 13 degrees Celsius.
Well, let me go get my thermometer, my instant read, and just see what this comes out at.
Yeah, and most of Nynäshamns beers are named after some kind of island or mini archipelago. Mm-hmm. And the Roxen is a small group of small... So half of archipelago. So a small group of archies.
Yeah.
I think there's too small to be an archipelago.
So it's a cluster, I guess, of islands.
Yeah, what's smaller than an archipelago?
I have no idea.
The cluster is a good one. Here you would hunt seal and strömming. Fish thing.
It's strömming.
Strömming.
Herring.
Strömming is herring, right?
Yes.
But did you do something with it? Because there's also there's so many.
Well, there's seal and there's like strömming and herring is the
in early 1900s.
Yeah.
So not the 19th century, the 1900s. Just so you understand.
Yes. Speaking of strömming, do you know the Swedish Navy's predicament with the Russian Navy that resulted with
Is this because of fishing war?
No. It's actually quite funny because, and I'm giving like the real loose notes here. I don't really remember all the specifics, but basically, Swedish Navy kept getting these pings off of their radar.
Yeah, but that was ferrets.
No. It was herring coming in during the mating season and making noise that was very similar to the engine sound of the Soviet submarines of the time. And so the Swedish Navy spent millions of kroner in months and years trying to figure out how the Russian Navy kept coming into the Stockholm ports, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And then it was by some weird happenstance that some marine biologist discovered that, like, oh, well, this is the noise of herring mating. Yes. And they were like, damn it.
I know the story. I thought it was some other animal that kind of just swam.
No, it's one of my favorite. My two favorite stories about Sweden history is that one and the one about the switching the traffic lanes from left to right overnight, basically redoing the entire country and all of the road signs and everything.
They didn't do it overnight. They did it when there were cars on the road.
Well, they started over. They got most of it done overnight. Yeah. And there was even a popular dance song that came out in support of it, which was also a secret right-wing agenda song at the same time. It was some coded language in there that reinforced, stay on the right side of the road.
Right.
So it was interesting. But anyway, getting back to this India Red Ale, which smells...
Wait, is this a podcast about beers? I've
been
tricked.
It's obtuse. And what's so funny is I've heard no less than like 3 podcasts about this very thing from U.S. podcasters.
The fish or the switching lanes?
The switching lanes thing, yeah.
It was a big thing.
And it was done so efficiently and quickly that it's gone down in history books as like a real like note taking on how to do this and reorientate an entire country in a very short period of time.
We didn't change the side that trains run on. Trains run on the left. If there are 2 train tracks parallel, you will go on the left side, which is really weird. So in the connection between Sweden and Denmark, there's actually like you switch.
Do you really?
There's like this corkscrew maneuver, like in the tunnel.
I did not realize that.
Because Denmark
is
on the right side.
Denmark's the other side, so they have to switch. Otherwise, it would be a very short train ride.
But then there are exceptions to this rule. Here in Malmö, we have one of the train stations, triangle train station. It actually goes on the other side there. But that's so going north, you would go on the east. Never mind.
All right. So let's get back to this beer. So Roxen India Red Ale smells like a
slightly smells of caramel.
No, it's got a little hoppy notes to it, a little caramel. It kind of looks like a rye IPA in the color.
And it is an India Red Ale.
It is. So we are expecting some hoppiness on this. So cheers.
Cheers.
It's good, man. That's a solid beer.
Because it goes towards India Pale Ale territory.
It does. You get a bit of the carameliness. You get a bit of the hoppy aroma. Some citrus notes kind of brighten it up. Aftertaste is this nice, rich kind of flavor to it. I mean, this is an excellent beer.
I agree. I'm known in our beer group for disliking brown ales and red ales. Mm-hmm. And whenever someone says, but you like this brown ale. Yeah, but that brown ale...
That's a 1 in a million brown ale.
No, that brown ale is barrel aged and goes towards some other territory. Oh, but you like this red ale. This here that we're drinking right now. This is true because it goes towards IPA territory. And those are the aspects I like about it. Mm-hmm. I really like the bitterness in this one.
Yeah.
And it even lingers. I still feel it.
Yeah. There's this nice mix of caramel richness with slightly bitter notes.
Yeah.
And a kind of a floral hoppiness to it. Mm-hmm. Man, this is so drinkable. I could easily have this around for a while and drink through it. I really, really like this.
In the aftertaste, I actually don't want the caramel. I want it in the main flavor. Mm-hmm. But I think it's competing with the bitterness from the hops in the aftertaste.
I think it complements each other quite well. I understand what you mean, but I feel that it works between the two quite well, and it's quite delicious.
Yeah, and I think in this case it's not about quality of beer in general. I think it's my personal preference. Mm-hmm. I would want the aftertaste to be cleaner of the
caramel parts
because the bitterness is tasty.
What I also like is the mouthfeel on this beer.
It's very drinkable.
It is very drinkable. It's not too thin. It's got a really nice palate viscosity. The viscosity makes it sound like it's viscous,
but it's not.
But it's not. It's not thin and watery. It's pleasant. I think the carbonation really helps lift the beer. Wow, this is a real surprise. I honestly did not expect much from this.
It's a solid beer. I mean, for me, it's a 375.
See, I knew you would give it lower than me.
Yeah.
This is a 4.425 beer.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, if I think about a lot of the IPAs I've given a 4.2 or 4.252, this is much better than those. I think there's a lot of enjoyment in this beer, and I just want to keep going back to it over and over again.
But if you were to dissect my stats, I think you would see that this is
the top of the line red ale.
Really on the top of Red Ale Mountain.
Well, let's see if the Sullivan's Brewing Company's Maltings Irish Red,
made by Kilkenny.
Yes, it is. Is it made by Kilkenny? It says Kilkenny, Ireland, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's made by Kilkenny.
It could be. Is it just from the city of Kilkenny?
It's from Kilkenny, Ireland, but is from Sullivan's Brewing Company.
Right. Then maybe there's no connection. Wow.
The more than one brewery can exist in the same town.
But Sullivan's Brewing Company is from Gardens, Leinster, Ireland. They're not from Kilkenny.
All I can tell you is what it says on the can.
Who knows?
Established 1702. Enjoy the canned version of our Malting Irish Ale, our classic ruby ale with deep malt combining rich biscuit and gentle caramel notes. So the aroma is malt and fruit taste, balance of blended malt with hop bitterness, good body, and dry finish.
Just looking at it, it's way darker than Roxen.
Yes. So technically, I think the Roxen, even though it says it's India Red Ale, I think it's an Imperial Red Ale because it's over 5%. It's 8%. Whereas the Sullivan's is a traditional red ale, which is only 5%.
7. Roxen
is 7. All right, 7. So
I wouldn't call 7 Imperial.
I think it depends on the style.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So how strong was Sullivan's?
Sullivan's only 5%.
Yep.
I'm almost 100% sure when I bought this on Systembolaget's website, it was labeled as an Imperial Red Ale. Because I've had an Imperial Red Ale, and it tasted like an old triple IPA. Actually, I think we reviewed one on the show.
Yeah.
For me, Fermentorum.
Yeah, for me, Imperial Red Ales are way stronger to like the old classification American Strong Ale.
Yeah.
This one, Roxen, isn't at all.
No.
Sullivan's.
Sullivan smells like a red ale. This is like a traditional old red ale.
Both caramel and like fruits, dried fruits.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Smells good. Yeah, like I said, it's much darker than the other beer. It is, very, very deep, rich red color.
This is traditional. This is way closer to, we said Murphy's Red Ale and
This is
like
what
that.
you want to get from you go into a Irish bar and you get a red ale. This is what it's going to taste like. This is your ho-hum, not too exciting, not very interesting.
Exactly.
There's a little bit of smokiness in the malts, it feels like, but it's pretty. I mean, you're going to drink it, you're going to move on.
Right.
Go to the next pub, get a Guinness or.
This is where red ale starts to lose me. Not in the aroma, that's pleasant. Not in the flavor. That's actually quite nice, caramelly, very easy to drink.
Yeah.
It's the aftertaste here that leaves me not wanting for more, but it's like it's almost like an off flavor that exists in all of these red ales. It's a flavor that I don't like.
Is this a lagered beer? Is it a?
I would say that definitely an ale.
So ales are top fermented or bottom fermented?
Yeah.
Because that is technically the difference between like
Yeah.
a lager and other types. So I guess it's bottom fermented because it's a ale. Is that correct?
I would say that lagers are bottom fermented.
Oh man, we really need to look this up.
Man.
we should really know this by now. But I haven't thought about this in a long time, so I cannot remember the difference between the two.
Keep talking. And
All right, I'm going to talking. Because it tastes to me kind of like a slightly sweeter, a little bit more caramelly lager. Like if you were to blindfold me and have me try this beer, I would probably think lager to begin with.
Ale is top fermented.
Top fermented. Okay.
I was actually right. You weren't wrong. We were talking about it, and I put my foot down and said, "Ale has to be top fermented."
All right. I had no reason not to believe you. So,
but I'm having trouble putting into words what I don't like about the aftertaste. It's kind of sickeningly sweet. This,
for me, it just kind of isn't there.
Yeah.
Which is why I was questioning if it was a lagered beer, because for me it has that kind of like lager aftertaste to it.
Right.
It's not bad. It's a good beer. I would, if you're out in a pub and you saw it and you had one, you'd be not disappointed. It falls right into that middle of the road kind of beverage. So I will. I'll give it a 3.
It's a 3 for me.
It's a C average beer. Yep. It's not bad. It's not great, but I think I'm gonna be disappointed with it.
Exactly 3. In my life, I've gone through a large number of these in various pubs, looking for something that wasn't Carlsberg export.
Yeah. And what's funny is this is like a good 3. It's not a bad 3. Like this isn't like feeling sorry for a beer that you think should be better 3. This is like
this one has worked its way up to a 3.
Yeah. This is it's as good as going to be 3 kind of.
Yeah.
So it's a respectable 3.
Sure. Yes.
I know it's a weird kind of thing to make.
It's not like a beer where you thought it was going to be 4.5, but it's somehow off.
Yeah.
So you feel like you need to give it a consolation prize.
Yeah.
This isn't a consolation prize.
No.
3. It's a 3.
Yeah. This is like your workaday beer. It's you're going to be happy drinking it. You're not going to remember the next day, or maybe you will after you're really hungover if you had 3 of them. But yeah, it's pretty good. Well, that's all I got. I had a lot of fun with these and had a lot of weird discussions.
I wonder if this is the episode that took the longest for us to actually sip the beer.
I mean, we were a good 7 minutes in, I think, before we started getting to it.
That's when we should start a separate podcast with no beer.
We need those. We need these digressions.
Definitely.
For sure. All right, so you can find us online at what'sontappodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Carrier Pigeons, Semaphore, the Bat Signal on Thursdays at 9 o'clock. Check your local listings. But until next time, keep up with us.